Welcome back. We are on week 7 with English12B. Right now we're talking about media bias, and we're just talking about how people who are reporting facts for news and just trying to give us current events and presenting information. Anytime that happens, typically media bias can happen. And again, media bias just means that anytime that we have an opinion about something, that impacts how we deliver information. So anytime the news organizations are putting out information, we have to decide whether or not to trust them based on, what their name is, who's speaking, their credibility, etc., etc. Because basically who they are impacts everything. And with that, we can kind of think about what we did last week. Currently, we're in week 7. But let's say I want to check out what we did last week because I wasn't here or didn't do everything. Last week we talked about media bias as well as circular reporting. Those are two things that we talked about. Media bias and circular reporting. That was in week 6. So just to kind of give a quick recap of what we did last week. We did our journals, so make sure that you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, we did a journal where it was with Beyonce. It was really simple. I only saw 2 people post, so that was kind of disappointing. Mostly because I love Beyonce. But the whole assignment, the warm-up, was just going to this Super Bowl link, watching the video, and then trying to come up with a catchy headline, just one headline, that would help me want to click on the link. Like, the link that I put was Beyonce Live at Super Bowl 2016. That could be an answer. So try to answer, because the journals are daily and they're each worth 2 points apiece. So they do impact your grade if you don't do them. Last week we looked at media bias. We identified some types of media bias, and mostly really what we eventually did on Thursday was talk about circular reporting, where I talked about hot sauce, specifically the hot sauce in Beyonce's bag, because there was this whole controversy about hot sauce in her bag swag. Really, we just did a worksheet, which is also something that you need to do if you did not do. And you can find that worksheet on this circular reporting page for week 6. It says circular reporting, hot sauce on my bag swag. It's a Google Doc link. This is also a worksheet in your folder, but this is just in case if you're not at home and you need access to it and you need to do it, because it is worth 20 points. Again, read the directions and you'll know how to do it. But basically you're just looking at these links and telling me based on the title of the headline, what do you think the article is about? And then you're supposed to flip over the page and read one entire article and just answer 3 questions. Super simple. So that's week 6. That's our recap from last week. So make sure that those are things that you got done. Make sure all the journals from last week are done. Make sure all the journals, period, are done. So from day 1 to now, all the journals need to be done. 2 points apiece. They're all graded, so go check a look and see what you're missing. You also need to turn in that informative essay. We've been working on it for about 6 weeks. So at this point, we're moving on. And the grades are in the grade book. So as you turn it in, I will change those 50% for missing to the grade that you deserve. So turn that informative essay in. What we're going to be doing again this week is in week 7, we are going to be starting something new. We're still looking at media bias. Media bias is when we're reporting information and our opinions can impact how we present that information. So like if I do a report on Beyonce, there's tons of media bias because you already know how obsessed I am with her. So I'm probably only going to talk positive. I'm not going to talk about her deep, dark secrets and try to mudslide her and mudsling and make her sound like she's a terrible person. So that's not what I'm going to do. But that's what media bias is. It's like my perception of something impacts how I'm going to present that information. And that's what we're going to continue with media bias. And we're going to be listening to a podcast called Serial. Serial is like a serial of events. So things happen and we are looking at those series of events. So with that, we're going to gather and evaluate information from this podcast. We're going to assess the strengths and limitation of this source. Sarah Koenig is the narrator and researcher of this program, and she is interviewing people, including the person of interest, Adnan Syed. He is currently in jail for the murder of his girlfriend, Heyman Lee. And we're basically going to be looking at the evidence to see if, how it's presented. Is it limited, or does it have a strong case? Is Sarah Koenig presenting the facts correctly, etc., etc.? We're going to try to integrate information from their website as well as other different sources to try to just give us enough information so that when we write about it later, we're not plagiarizing. We're just using all this information that we're learning with right now. And we're just going to eventually write. We're going to be writing every day. That's our goal. Whether it be a journal, discussion question, or an essay, we are always writing every day. So those are the things that we're going to accomplish with Media Bias and this podcast serial. You can take a look at our schedule. Monday, I want you to listen to episode 1 from beginning to end. Tuesday, beginning of class, we're going to answer the questions for episode 1. You can click on the link. It brings you to a Google form, and you just type in your name, your email, and then type in your answers, and just make sure that you hit submit. That'll be something that we do Tuesday. So episode 1, discussion questions, Tuesday. And then we're going to listen to episode 2 on Tuesday. Answer those discussion questions for episode 2 on Wednesday. Listen to serial episode 3. And then basically by Thursday, we're going to have episode 3 and 4 completed, and we want to try to answer the discussion questions. Friday, there is no school. Conferences are happening this week, so I will be emailing all parents, letting them know your current grade and what you are missing, just so that we can make sure that you're on track for graduation. If you have any questions, send me an email or Google chat, but this is our week for week 7. Good luck.